Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 700 Club. Phase 1 of the Gaza ceasefire is nearly complete, and now Hamas is throwing up roadblocks to the path forward by backing away from the pledge to lay down weapons.
President Trump and Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu are set to meet later this month to plan how to disarm Hamas and demilitarize Gaza. CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl has more.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will meet with President Trump at Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida on December 29th.
They will discuss the future steps and phases and the international stabilization force of the ceasefire plan.
Netanyahu says phase 1 of the ceasefire agreement is nearly complete, with one more hostage body, Ron Gavili, still in Gaza. Hamas and the Red Cross are actively searching for him.
And now we have a second phase, no less daunting, and that is to achieve the disarmament of Hamas and the demilitarization of Gaza.
In a press conference with Germany's chancellor, Netanyahu said the discussions should go beyond the second phase.
There's a third phase, and that is to de-radicalize Gaza, something that also people believed was impossible. But it was done in Germany. It was done in Japan. It's done in the Gulf states. It can be done in Gaza too. But of course, Hamas has to be dismantled.
Despite agreeing to the ceasefire, Hamas officials are balking at giving up their arms. Political leader Khaled Mashal says the weapons are part of the resistance project and the right of our people to defend themselves. Another official, Khalil al-Haya, says Hamas won't disarm until there's a sovereign Palestinian state and won't accept an international force within Gaza, only one to monitor the borders, a key component of Trump's plan. In eastern Jerusalem, Israel raided the offices of UNRWA, the UN agency responsible for Palestinian refugees, saying the move was a debt collection procedure for unpaid property taxes. Israeli government spokeswoman Shosh Bedrosian accuses UNRWA of enormous failures and said it should be dismantled.
UNRWA continues to claim there's also not enough humanitarian aid going inside of the Gaza Strip. If you look at the facts, there are hundreds of trucks entering Gaza on a daily basis. There are thousands of trucks entering Gaza on a weekly basis. The aid is entering Gaza freely and without the help from UN agencies that terrorists have embedded themselves into.
In Lebanon overnight, Israel struck Hezbollah targets, including a training and qualification compound the IDF says is for planning and executing attacks against Israel. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Thank you, Julie. In other international news, Ukraine's president is drawing the line in proposed peace negotiations with Russia. John Jessup has that story and more from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John.
That is right, Andrew. President Zelensky declared Ukraine will not give up any land to Russia. He made that statement after his meeting with the leaders of France, Germany, and the United Kingdom in London Monday. Zelensky told reporters that his government has, quote, no right to give anything away under the country's laws. The Trump administration wants him to approve a framework agreement that includes giving up the eastern Donbass region and to stop seeking NATO membership. Ukrainian and European leaders have criticized parts of the plan that they say are favorable to Russia. Earlier today, Zelensky met with Pope Leo at his residence near Rome. Well, here in Washington, the Supreme Court appears to be leaning in favor of pro-life pregnancy centers in New Jersey. Recently, the justices heard arguments in a case pitting Christian-based women's resource centers against the state attorney general. CBN's Lori Johnson brings us the details.
2 years ago, New Jersey Attorney General Matthew Platkin subpoenaed First Choice Pregnancy Centers, demanding their donors' identities and contact information. First Choice refused, maintaining the information should be kept private. The Attorney General's office argued their request was part of an investigation into whether First Choice tricked donors into thinking they were contributing to an abortion provider.
Our entire purpose in asking for the category of donor information that we asked about was to evaluate whether any donors themselves might have been deceived by the representations on the donation pages maintained by First Choice.
I gather that you think the website might have made them think that this was an entity that provided abortion care as opposed to a pro-life entity. So that was the concern?
Yeah, that's right, Your Honor.
However, First Choice insists their website clearly presents a pro-life stance.
It is not in the least misleading. It pictures smiling faces of babies and their families, that there's no question that it belongs to something like Planned Parenthood.
First Choice attorney Aaron Hawley believes the true reason behind this subpoena involves a widespread attack on the pro-life movement.
This is the context of a hostile attorney general who has issued a consumer alert, urged New Jerseyans to beware of pregnancy centers, and assembled a strike force against them.
Were there complaints against you that stimulated the subpoena?
No, Your Honor. The Attorney General has never identified a single complaint.
Furthermore, First Choice says disclosing donor information violates their freedom of speech and would scare them away.
Some donors gave as little as $10. Those folks are going to be worried about a state attorney general, the highest law enforcement officer in the country, demanding their names, phone numbers, addresses, places of employment so that he can contact them.
Some justices agreed.
You know, this is just kind of obvious that there's some kind of objective chill from a subpoena on speech.
I mean, they're saying if we'd known that this was going to happen, we wouldn't have given. Perforce, if it's going to be disclosed, we won't give. I mean, doesn't that just follow night from day?
Even the ACLU filed a brief calling the Attorney General's move suppression by subpoena and censorship by intimidation. The High Court is expected to issue its ruling in June. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
All right, thank you, Lori. Well, while some argue faith and science can't coexist, a museum in Tennessee is challenging that belief. CBN's Wendy Griffith takes us inside the Wonder Center.
Just outside Nashville sits the Wonder Center and Science Museum, featuring 100,000 square feet of exhibits explaining the mysteries of science and history, space, paleontology, animals, literature, even a 1,000-year-old Bible scroll, all from a creation perspective. Founder and director David Reeves says the mission is to educate and inspire through God's magnificent creation.
We want people to walk through and be inspired with science, with hands-on activities, with world-class exhibitry, with NASA artifacts, with planetarium shows that take you fully immersive into space, and then point it right back to this idea that all of the universe shows these design patterns, and they're pointing us right back to not just our Creator, but ultimately to our Savior, Jesus Christ.
David, what are some of your favorite exhibits that are happening right now at the Wonder Center?
You know, we just opened up Wonders of Africa. I lead African photo safaris for families, take them into the heart of South Africa and show them how animal biology points back to this amazing design from the beginning. And so we just opened up an entire exhibit hall, our second largest exhibit hall ever, which transports you into the bushveld of Africa, past lions, past all of these other animals, through a watering hole where you can see these things up close and personal, and then teaches you lessons about their design.
David's passion for science began at an early age, picking up fossils near his home in Middle Tennessee. As a young man, astrophotography, taking photos of the night sky, captured his imagination and stirred a desire to explain the purpose and majesty behind the universe.
And I saw the blues and the purples and the reds and all of those stars and all of that beauty. I said, wow, the heavens declare the glory of God, just like Psalm 19 says. And the next thought that ran through my mind was, why is this a hobby? Why couldn't I use that passion for Christ, and why couldn't we actually use it as a witnessing tool to encourage people, hey, you're not a cosmic accident. You were born with purpose, and that purpose is fulfilled through Christ.
Reeves is known for his groundbreaking research on the Dead Sea Scrolls, as well as his amazing dinosaur discoveries. He believes the Wonder Center offers something for everyone.
You'll get to see and experience things like racing cars downhill and learn physics and principles. You'll learn about the Bernoulli principle, which helps airplanes stay afloat. You're going to be able to experience 1 million volts of lightning in our Tesla coil experience, where we put you in the same room with that electricity, playing music, and then you'll get to see one of the top 10 planetariums in the entire world floating through space.
The ultimate goal is to remind people that God created the entire universe because he wants to have a relationship with us.
Whether it's the blade of grass out of their window or the hummingbird flying past their door, look at that in a different way and not just be amazed at nature, but be amazed at God's creation.
Wendy Griffith, CBN News.
Looks like some interesting exhibits there. Thank you, Wendy. Andrew, Terry, back to you.
All right, thanks, John. And Wendy, an awful lot of people are moving to Tennessee. And now if you're just going as a tourist, you've got something great to check out.
Yeah.
I'll admit I love planetariums,
Me
and I guess
too.
Terry does too, because when they were talking about that, we both said, love those. But I don't think I've ever been to one that sophisticated. It looks like a great place to visit.
I know. It looks like a great place to visit. You know, God is a God of order, and I love when somebody has done the research and taken the time to just kind of outline and process all of that for us. Great place.
And the heavens do declare the glory of God. Love how David also talked about what is your passion, your hobby, so to speak, and how can I glorify God with it? He has found a way to do it.
Boy, he surely has, and it blesses all of us.